Okay, for this video, we are going to look at the pro-con databases that we have here at Murphy Library. And for that, I'm going to go back to that English 110 course guide, just because that does not typically tend to be databases that people remember offhand, but kudos if you do remember it offhand. So what I'm going to do is go up here to issue-oriented databases, and you'll see that our three main databases are Points of View, Gale and Text Opposing Viewpoints, and CQ Researcher. So they're all pretty similar in that you won't get as much scholarly content or original research, but you will get a lot of summaries of a topic. And the first one that I'm going to go to is down here is CQ Researcher. So what it stands for is Congressional Quarterly. And what that means is they go ahead and study a topic that is politically sensitive or talked about, and they try to find both sides of the topic so that it can be put into a brief form for people in the legislature. So I go ahead and hit CQ Researcher, and notice how it has a search box up here. So that is one way of searching. You can go ahead and type in homeless and see what comes up. Okay, so right now you'll see two things. Notice how it is not necessarily based on date. It tries to go based on what it thinks you might be looking for. So I could go to a short report on poverty and homelessness. So notice how my topic was about college students and homelessness, right? Well, for this, in CQ Researcher, you might have to go a little bit more broad to look at homelessness in general in the United States, and then maybe they'll talk about younger people in the topic. So a short report is not very long, as you probably got from the name, but it'll give you a brief overview of what the topic could be. Some things to note is notice how the statistics or things that they reference are hyperlinked. So if you really think that this statistic here is very interesting, helpful to your research, you might want to go ahead and click on this and go to the original source to get more statistics and information like that. So I'm going to go out of the short report and try to find one that's a little bit more robust and longer. And so it looks like domestic poverty from 2019 might be a full report. Okay, so notice on the left-hand side, we have a ton more stuff. And if you know already that you just want to go to the pro-con part of it, you can click on that. And then it'll show you two people who are, supposed to be experts in domestic poverty, and they go ahead and talk about each side of the argument. So I'm just going to go back to the main report. Or if you just want to scroll through all of it, you can go ahead and do so. Notice again, hyperlinked, so you can go back to the source of that statistic or fact. Also, you can see that off to the right, it'll show you how this topic has changed over time, and it'll give you kind of the different reports that you can find within CQ Researcher. And if you find a report that is helpful that you want to save, notice that it has very similar things. View PDF, Cite Now, you can email it to yourself, or if you're on your own computer, save it. Now, I got a report just by putting in homeless. Sometimes you don't always get a result when you go ahead and use that keyword search. So you can also search in other ways. So you would browse the topic. So I'm going to guess under browse topics that it would be under housing and development. And then you can go ahead and keep clicking on it. So this is, let's see, I wonder what comes under this. So that didn't necessarily get me what I thought I was looking for, but notice how when I click on it, it expands, and I still find domestic poverty and homelessness in the short report. You also can browse reports, and sometimes that's helpful. I usually go by issue tracker, and then it's the same kind of thing. It's just alphabetized, and you can go through all of them and try to get to your topic. So again, for this, I would go down to what I'm guessing is housing. Yeah, and then it goes through that same process. So that's CQ Researcher. The other one that might be helpful to you, let's just click on these, is, let's see, Opposing Viewpoints. So this will give you things more like magazines, news articles, or there is some scholarly research in there too. I tend to like to go to the advanced search. And one thing to know about this is in the advanced search, it looks pretty much like Academic Search Ultimate, right? Where you have your keyword searching. So I'm going to do homeless, and let's just see if there's anything about college students. Oops. So no results. So I'm going to go back. Okay. So notice how it had the apostrophe S and it gave me not very much. So because it's a very specific topic, notice how there isn't that many results. So for this one, I may want to expand my topic not necessarily to college students, although it looks like there's some really helpful things in here. I may want to do something like, well, let's focus on right? So let's solution or solve. So let's see if maybe I can find something that talks more about the problem of homelessness and how to solve it. So notice how I get a ton more content. And you can go ahead and skip right down to that content by going to viewpoints. So that's obviously going to give you the pro con. If there's stuff from, say, radio or podcasts that would be in here, videos, news articles, magazines, reference materials like encyclopedia excerpts. And notice how there are 21 articles from academic journals. So you can get quite a bit of content that's a little bit more written for the general public in something like these pro-con databases.